In order to enter it, you had to pay money. Theo didn't have them, so he paid with his shoes. Going inside, he was shown a girl according to the description suitable for the one that the feasibility study is looking for, but it wasn't her. Several journalists from Earth have arrived on a new inhabitable planet to interview the founder of UTS. One of the journalists started asking James questions. For example, such as, why almost 95% of the population still lives on Earth? The only way to earn at least something is to join the space cleaners and collect the wreckage of ancient machines of satellites and space stations cluttering the Earth's orbit. But even for this dangerous and hard work they are paid very little. But even they didn't have everything so simple, since the cleaners were constantly unable to separate the captured parts of ships or cars and very often stole loot from each other. At the beginning of the film, Victoria's team attacks other cleaners, and scrupulous scavengers take the loot from their colleagues. However, this does not help them get rich. The money in their account dissolves as quickly as it appears. Loans and debts multiply. The main characters of the film Space Cleaners are the crew of the spaceship Victory, the brave and handsome Captain Yang, the talkative and restless robot Babs, the former drug dealer and head of the criminal cartel Tiger Pack, as well as the grumpy pilot Kim Tae-ho, who is trying to earn money to find the body of his deceased stepdaughter drifting in the middle of space. When Tai was looking at the stolen ship, he noticed a little girl named Dorothy in one of the compartments of the ship. She may look like a harmless child, but she is reportedly a terrorist invented by the Black Foxes. It could explode at any moment. As soon as the team found out about it, everyone immediately ran to their rooms. The girl had to be tied up and Tai took care of it. But he couldn't do it, but he found the girl's briefcase. It contained a smartphone and some papers. With this, Tai figured out the owner of the robot. He gathered the whole team in a cafe and told them the plan. They will ask the Black Foxes for money in return for the girl. So they did. After calling the Black Foxes, they arrange a meeting in the city center where the exchange will take place. The whole team is very happy because now they will have money and they will be able to pay their debts and live a normal life. Each of the group members gradually get to know the girl. Now it's time to go to a meeting to exchange the girl, but someone knocked on the door of the ship. The girl read on the monitor that it was the police, and the whole team ran to their places, and the girl was hidden in one of the rooms of the ship. The policeman began to go around the ship and noticed how all the friends were looking at a small window in the door from which Dorothy was looking out. He immediately entered that room and started searching. The girl ran from one place to another so that the man would not find her. Tai decided to act and took the money from Bubs. He approached the policeman and quietly handed him the money. At this moment, Jang comes into the room and says that they filmed a policeman taking a bribe, and if he does not leave now, they will inform his superiors about it. The manipulation worked and he left the ship. Here the whole team arrived at the place of the transaction. Dorothy was carried in a bag so that no one would recognize her. Finally, the deal was done. Friends checked the money and everything turned out to be real. It's time to give the girl away. It turned out that it was not the Black Foxes who wanted to take Dorothy, but the owner of the U.S. corporation, James Sullivan. He ordered his soldiers to kill all the space cleaners and Dorothy after they took the girl. But as soon as the bag in which Dorothy was opened, it turned out that the girl was not in it. He ordered his soldiers to kill all the space cleaners and Dorothy after they took the girl. But as soon as the bag in which Dorothy was opened, it turned out that the girl was not in it. Everyone started running screaming, and the soldiers started shooting at the girl and at one of the cleaners who was trying to save her. Dorothy, as it turned out later, had super abilities. With the help of one of them, she was able to protect the space cleaners and escape to the ship with them. Unfortunately, their ship was malfunctioning and they asked for help from one of Jangi's fans. Upon arrival at the factory, the team realized that they had absolutely no money to repair the ship. Dorothy helped them a lot at that moment. With the help of her ability, she grew tomatoes. And a little later, she and Tai sold them to people who were at the factory. Bubs was telling Dorothy about the past of all the members of the space cleaners. And it turned out that he used to be a soldier and killed a huge number of people. On one of the tasks, Theo saw a little girl, and since her mother was dead, he decided to take her for himself. Theo raised the girl as his daughter, and since then, he could no longer kill people. That's why he was fired, and together with his daughter, Theo lived on the street for a whole year. They didn't have any money, and that's why I tried to get them in any way. One evening he lost all his money again and did not notice how his daughter left the bar and went in an unknown direction. And a minute later there was an explosion. The doors closed in the bar and everything that was outside it flew into space. Theo wanted to find his daughter with the help of a special program, but it cost a lot of money and he didn't have it. And that's why he's trying to get money now, since soon his daughter will leave orbit. The feasibility study was called. The stranger again made an appointment to exchange Dorothy for money. They agreed on a place and the call ended. After a while, the team realized that Dorothy was not there and went in search of her. It didn't take much time and it turned out that Dorothy was stolen by friends of cleaners. When the friends were able to catch them, they found out that the mysterious kidnappers were black foxes. The foxes told about what really happened and who Dorothy was. Since birth, the girl had a disease and could not walk. There was no cure for this disease, and then Dorothy's dad injected her with a special drug and she recovered. Subsequently, she began to develop superpowers. The Fox team also talked about James Sullivan's plans and how his company has reached such heights. The key to the success of the enterprise was the girl Coim, whose nanobots in her body were able to reprogram nanobots from the outside world. And as it turned out later, she was living proof that the Earth could still be saved. A group of environmentalists and black foxes found out about the true plans of the UTS Corporation and its founder, as well as about Dorothy's wonderful abilities, so they kidnapped a girl from the company. Sullivan realized that there was only one way he could get rid of the witnesses and carry out his plan, if he destroyed them. But since the nanobots in her body made the girl practically immortal, he decided to use a special super-powerful atomic bomb. If you detonate this bomb, at least 3 billion people from planet Earth will suffer. Upon arrival, THO got behind the wheel and flew out of the factory into space. Dodging missiles, the ship got into a field of space waste. The ship began to become infected with nanobots and many devices failed. At this moment, Dorothy helped a lot, who was able to cope with the infection of the ship with her ability. THEO contacted Dorothy's father and arranged a meeting. In a few minutes, they were on the same ship. The girl's father was very grateful to the cleaners for saving his daughter. But unfortunately, it didn't last long. The ship was attacked by James soldiers and killed everyone including Dorothy's father except the cleaners and Dorothy. The girl was immediately taken away, but Sullivan came to deal with the feasibility study. He paid a huge amount of money to find his daughter, but in return for this he took Dorothy's life. None of the team wanted to take the money because they considered it dirty. But it was all the same. He came to the place where his daughter disappeared to pay for her search. But at some point, he realized that he was doing the wrong thing and returned to the ship. The whole team wanted to free and save Dorothy, so they got down to business. Django was beating off the rockets and IT was driving. There were more ships every minute, and then Theo decided to take a huge risk. He is on his way down to the ground with great speed. All the ships followed him. After a while, the feasibility study abruptly soared up and the rest of the ships began to explode. The team has already flown to James' headquarters and found Dorothy. The bomb was launched and an explosion should occur in 27 minutes. Friends released the girl, but they learned sad news. The bomb could not be defused. And so after a while they decided to take Dorothy to a place where the wave from the bomb would not reach her. And to be more precise, by 100 kilometers. They were about to leave the headquarters, but a girl came into the room. She easily defeated Jang and TEO. The girl followed Dorothy, who was told to run to the ship. But Puck couldn't allow Dorothy to be captured again, so he locked himself in the same room with the girl and tricked her into winning. It remains to take Dorothy to a safe distance. The whole crew boarded the ship and set off. They had almost covered the required distance. A giant ship stood in front of them on the way, and James was at its helm. He was obsessed with catching Dorothy. However, it turned out that the detonator for the atomic bomb was on board the Victory all this time. The essence of the operation was to move the deadly nuclear warhead as far as possible from the factory and the ground. And Dorothy hasn't been on the ship all this time. And then there was an explosion. The entire cleaning crew was supposed to die, but Dorothy, with the help of her nanobots, they created a protective field around the Victory ship and thus the whole team was able to survive. The UTS company promised to restore the land and pay off all the damage that was brought to the cleaners. Also, with the help of Dorothy, THEO was able to contact his daughter before she left orbit. The whole team became a big and friendly family after such events.